Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. We are dry now, but storm chances and severe weather chances are going to pick up as we go throughout the extended forecast. We're looking at more as to when that is most likely coming up here in a couple of minutes. I think Monday at this point is the most likely time frame. And if you're going to wait, Monday, today is Tuesday. We're looking toward next Monday at that potential. There will be storms between then and now. In fact, we could have flooding rainfall between then and now on a couple of occasions. But I think by the first of next week, that threat definitely is going to become more significant. More on that coming up here in just a couple of moments. But rain and perhaps some flooding is, again, one of the big headlines where maybe 5 or 6 inches of rain is a possibility. We're looking at multiple severe weather threats. The first of those could arrive Friday, and then intermittent maybe threats in the weekend before the chances get a lot better by the first of next week. We're going to use a couple of exclusive products here to Mississippi Live. We'll use triple threat, which is going to look rotation, damaging winds, and hail all on one graphic, hopefully making that as simple as possible to look at that in more detail. We'll have that coming up for you, as well as the crossover to look toward, in particular, Monday and maybe late next week with more significant severe weather chances. Late April tends to be the peak of our severe weather season, and it looks like it could be once again this year as well. 76 temperature at 7 p.m., though this evening, no storms of significance, or really no storms at all. We're 63 by 10, 59 by 1 o'clock in the morning, and back in the mid-50s by early on your Wednesday morning. Latest look here at Mama Justice Doppler radar. Got those latest scans looking around, not really detecting much. What we do see here, more mid-level cloud cover. That's what in the dry category. But you can see how fuel's already moving up there into the central U.S. That's why these folks are going to be more likely to see strong and severe thunderstorms starting tomorrow and going throughout a good chunk of the next 4 or 5 days. Almost every day they will have some chance that direction. In the near term, again, as high pressure slides away, more limited shower chances try to move in as more of that moisture starts to kind of fall into alignment there. But not expecting this to be significant tonight, as mainly, I mean, even kind of looking at this, we show maybe some very, very light rain trying to make it the ground, but Philadelphia, Forest, Raleigh, possibility maybe to get a little bit of that for you. But up here in Corinth, even the sprinkles in Tupelo or Oxford, not particularly likely. So this is, again, mainly sprinkles. That would be primarily about it out of this as it kind of progresses from west to east here through Greenville, through Canton and Philadelphia, kind of moving eastward there closer to Meridian. But I mean, if that adds up to 1/10 of an inch of rainfall, that would be extremely significant. Most locations won't even be that much, as we're mainly dry again for tonight, and going partly to mostly clear out there overnight. And that still will, I think, get us back into the mid-50s to start early Wednesday. We're 54 to begin the day. There's those light rainfall amounts not really adding up to much. We're 64 by 9 a.m., 77 by noon, and 80 degrees as we head toward tomorrow afternoon. Back up above normal for this time of year, but still almost 10 degrees below record level. So warm, yes, extremely warm, not necessarily the case. But coming up here in 60 seconds, we're going to, right after this commercial break, be looking at your triple threat, which is going to allow us to kind of determine the severity of severe weather. In particular, late this week, we're targeting Friday as the first of those chances. We do have high resolution modeling now going through there with our exclusive strike model. We'll look at that right after the break. We'll also look at the rainfall and how much it could be where it's the heaviest and where that flash flooding potential is the greatest. I know, considering how badly we've been saying we need rainfall, we have it there. Unfortunately, it could come with the other end as well. More on that here from the Room to Room Weather Center's Mississippi Live Weather continues here in 60 seconds.
Room to Room's birthday party is going on now. Come celebrate 23 years with us. Up to 70% off store-wide discounts. Free gifts for everyone. Plus, we pay your sales tax. It's a celebration you don't want to miss, only at Room to Room.
After a storm, the damage is not always obvious. And if it's not documented correctly, it can cost you. With a decade of experience, we know exactly what to look for. We handle the inspection, claim support, and the roof. Storm season is coming. Make sure you have absolute restoration on your side.
Hate is loud, but love is the majority.
This portion of Mississippi Live Weather is presented by Little's Jewelers.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lovehon.
Well, man, it really has been a story of the haves and have-nots here rainfall-wise over the last week, or really the last month. We have finally seen some last week, but man, look at these locations on the plains. You see those stripes of red there? Those are rainfall totals in excess of 6 inches or maybe way more than that. Like San Antonio, Texas, we show 5.5 inches or so there, 6 inches back there closer to Austin, if I were to get out of the way of either of those locations where you see that on there. But I want to, again, look there toward the Midwest is, yeah, some of the rainfall totals were heavier there. But we look here across North Mississippi, and our amounts have not been as good, but at least we had a few spots where we have estimations up there in excess of an inch over the last week. Most of that coming this last weekend. But if we look forward over the next week, just on the rough estimate level, somewhere in the neighborhood of an additional 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, some cases more than an inch of rainfall. And when we look at our high resolution projections, in particular, our exclusive strike model, you'll see that those numbers could become much, much higher than that. So let's look at rainfall totals. Again, one of the significant factors next few days. Today, not much. It takes until probably late Thursday to start seeing more decent amounts where you see the greens there. Those would be spots where we're looking at maybe 1/2 inch of rainfall out of this and maybe a little bit more than that. But look what happens by Friday. Friday, as a line of storms moves in from the north and west, rainfall becomes fairly widespread, especially for locations really the southeastern 2/3 of the area. You can see Greenville coming in at 2.6 inches of rain. That'd be a lot of rainfall there, making an impact. Looking at close to 1/2 inch for a lot of other spots and an inch or so for a few others as well. But I want to point out right there behind me what happens late Friday night. Watch this go from some to a lot more between late Friday night and early Saturday afternoon. So really that 12-hour stretch, in just that period of time, an additional 2, 3, or 4 inches of rain is possible. We call that training. Wherever that sets up, we could have some major problems, and it's possible that threat could shift more over top of us, especially for Cleveland, Greenwood, Kosciuszko, Louisville. Be watching this closely. Some flooding rainfall potential out of the next few days, in particular, looking at this upcoming weekend. Rainfinder shows that that is not just a weekend thing, that goes beyond. Again, an exclusive you'll see only here on Mississippi Live. What we're showing is generally the accumulated rainfall and then the odds of seeing it. Helps us with timing, kind of using probabilistic likelihood there, as you can see, for seeing rainfall. So certainly for us, between now and really early Friday, the odds are not very good to see much. Maybe a little bit, but not much. But notice we're talking about the heavy rainfall. As we go through Friday, the odds are greater, increasing for our area there, up where we're, 60, 70% of seeing, some significant rainfall. The more flooding rainfall, though, you can see it's really that time period from Friday afternoon until early Saturday morning that likelihood starts increasing, where we're starting to put down a couple of inches of rainfall by that point. And then continuing the Saturday, that continues to add up with, yes, the peak rain threat sliding to the south and east by Saturday afternoon. Sunday, at least limited rainfall chances continue through that day, and then the odds increasing once again as we go toward Monday, with pretty significant likelihood of us seeing those rainfall chances, storm chances, and heavy rainfall, maybe flooding rainfall there into Monday before those chances slide out as we look toward Tuesday of next week. Again, this is Rainfinder, something we typically have used at this point in winter weather, but I think applies in this situation for us to look at accumulation for that flooding rainfall potential there. Now, triple threat, we've shown a lot lately through this severe season. And again, another Mississippi Live exclusive where we analyze storm rotation, wind damage potential, and large hail potential, the three main severe weather threats, all on one graphic, trying to boil it down, make it as simple as possible. This is Storm Finder, again, something on our triple threat you can see only on Mississippi Live. What you'll notice on the plains, isolated storms for your Wednesday and a potential for those to rotate and maybe produce tornadoes. It's not a widespread threat. This is what isolated looks like, huge gaps between them. For Thursday, noontime, not much, even though we show a few thunderstorms here, and I'll bring it in closer so you can see it, and then we'll come back wide again. But we don't really have much. In the Delta, we show maybe a little bit of gusty wind out of these, 30, 40, maybe 50 miles per hour at absolute max for your Thursday afternoon. So no hail, no tornado threat with those showers popping up, even in the most significant scenario. So let's go look toward Friday. And that's really where things are going to get more interesting for us, the first of our severe weather chances. Notice what starts here on the plains. Lots of hail, rotation, even damaging winds with some of these storms, Oklahoma City, Wichita. Watch how those spread eastward, dropping tons of hail, quite a bit of rotation, and wind damage. And how those then become these lines of storms. Those will slide toward us as a kind of a complex of thunderstorms. And by early Friday, we'll have obviously a very good idea of what's going on then. But this does show kind of a complex of thunderstorms back there into Arkansas, kind of moving in from the north and west. And this will be one of the focal points for some strong wind gusts, maybe some rotation out of thunderstorms as they move in, and perhaps a hail threat as well. This is something that our meteorologist Maggie Milcali will be watching alongside of us the next couple of days, and certainly she'll be watching early Friday morning. You want to check her out for the latest over the next few days, as you can every morning on Roku, Fire Stick, as well as Apple TV and all of the different apps and social media. Our meteorologist Maggie McCauley, 6:37 and 7:30 a.m. on Mississippi Live this morning. So through noontime, again, some isolated showers, but notice how it's between noon and 6 p.m. that threat starts to be kind of maximized. And there are some little splotches here where we do show rotation. Now, I don't show the solid tracks there, where we're most likely to maybe see some rotation that produces tornadoes. I'm going to go wide to give you an example of that. Look back here into Texas, how we have these kind of really strong kind of white sort of tracks here, where we have the rotation down below and then the hail, large hail potential kind of layered on top of there as well. All of that to say that this is what it looks like when you have rotating storms that are more likely to produce strong tornadoes. For our region then, as we look closer, you'll notice it's more splotchy. So we're going to have some rotating storms. We're going to have some gusty winds. This shows that by 6 p.m., most of those are going to be south of the Golden Triangle. That's what these outlines are. Those kind of indicate where maybe the regular radar returns would be. But notice as we head between 6 p.m. and midnight, how we have more hail depicted out here. Greenville, back toward Hollandale, and Yazoo City, and Chula, and maybe even Kosciuszko there, a bit more rotation. This is, again, not expected to be high-end wind damage, not expected to be high-end hail or high-end rotation. But some rotating thunderstorms could produce limited hail and perhaps some spotty wind damage. I think more than anything, it's really heavy rainfall, the main factor that this is probably going to end up producing there. And we do continue to show those showers and thunderstorms continue to generate, again, that flash flooding threat for locations south of Cleveland, back toward Eudora and Hollandale. So triple threat, showing that obviously Friday late in the day is the peak time frame for us to have some issues out of this setup there. And then hopefully as we go into Sunday, things weaken, but by Monday next week, that's when we really kind of see the next level up. And we'll look at the crossover for that here in a minute. But I want to get through at least the next couple of days of forecast here for a moment. Outside right now in Caledonia, a mix of clouds, 77. And again, appreciate the North Mississippi Storm Chasers for their partnership here. Mix of high clouds in Houston, newest camera that they added down there in Chickasaw County. Just a beautiful shot. Excited to be showing you in Houston. Okay, maybe this is just me. There are a lot of water towers here in Houston that I see toward the horizon, and maybe this is just the angle. We're kind of catching some of those there. When I sent the Mississippi Live drone up, I didn't notice that last time, but kind of a cool shot. Appreciate all you folks in Houston for supporting us here. And then as we look out in Macon, again, high, thin clouds. Notice, though, the little kind of fuzziness you see there. That is what we call virga. As moisture is falling in the dry air, it's evaporating, and that kicks out some strong wind gusts from time to time. So that's, I think, more the issue than any sort of rain falling with what we have out there for tonight. So I'd say down here toward Philadelphia, Forest, Meridian, for folks down there, Bay Springs, you're a lot more likely to maybe have some showers with this getting sprinkles. But we're talking maybe 1/10 of an inch of rainfall, and honestly, that could be on the high end. I think that's more the exception to the rule. But still, if you have some sprinkles out there, Mag will be tracking that tomorrow morning starting at 6:30 a.m. If you're heading out the door early tomorrow, expect it to be mid-50s to maybe low 60s. A lot warmer than we've been the last couple of mornings. The cloud cover insulating us, making us milder to begin the day. School bus forecast brought to you by Nmsc. We are 55 for that pickup temperature there. 80 degrees by drop-off in the afternoon, so still light jacket territory earlier on in the day, especially if the kids are waiting at the bus stop for a little while out there. But obviously in the afternoon, a non-issue. We're keeping it mainly dry outside of maybe a few sprinkles with this. Greenwood back toward Winona or Cleveland there, looking at noontime on your Wednesday. Even at that point, not much showing up with only partly cloudy skies into the afternoon, 4:35 to 6 p.m. High temperatures on your Wednesday to around 80 in South Haven, 80 degrees Holly Springs, Oxford, and Water Valley, 82 Grenada. We typically should be 77, so we're running a little bit above that for tomorrow with lower 80s. Most locations, warmest spots, as you can see there, Starkville, Columbus, and Vernon, Alabama, all coming in around 83 degrees. So these clouds represent that lower level moisture starting to return from the Gulf of Mexico. As it does, we're kind of pumping in a little bit more fuel, a little bit more warmth day after day. I say a little bit more warmth. It's possible that these clouds are maybe just thick enough that they hold temperatures upper 70s for a few spots by your Thursday afternoon. But starting off the day, mainly dry and partly cloudy. Down towards South Mississippi, Louisiana, that's where there are a few showers and thunderstorms. We're watching just this little nose of moisture working its way northward. Watch how that will then kind of bring a few isolated storms up here closer to Chula, back toward Greenville, Clarksdale, up toward the Memphis area. So kind of right on the nose of that returning lower level moisture. Maybe half an inch of rainfall on the high end with these. These were those initial ones we showed you on the rainfall accumulation kind of popping up there for some spots in your Thursday afternoon to possibly to around Thursday evening there, 5, 6 p.m. or so. Our game of the week, we've moved that to Thursday because of the expectation that we're going to have storms on Friday. And so high temperatures on Thursday, we're going 84 degrees in Clarksdale, 83 Cleveland, 84 degrees in Greenville, 83 for Eupora, and around 82 for Tupelo, Amory, and the Houston area, 83 in Bruce. Our high school game of the week, still working on who that's going to be. In fact, Gabe, we will talk to Gabe here in a minute on how that is going. I think we have the voting up. We didn't get the voting up until today. Basically, it's playoff action. We knew we were going to have to move it ahead of day. We just wanted to make sure we got the right locations and times. It just seemed like we're getting kind of different things called out there. So we will talk to Gabe coming up here after the break about that game of the week and how the voting is going on that there. So let's talk severe weather risks. As we mentioned a minute ago, the primary severe weather risk is to the west of us on Friday. In saying that, looking at what you and I looked at a minute ago there, I think you can make an argument to possibly extend that level 1 risk farther east. They don't put a level 1 risk out for day 4. That's what Friday would be. Today, day 1, Wednesday, day 2, Thursday, day 3, and Friday, day 4. So no official level 1 risk issued today. I think most of us, will, or at least a decent chunk of us, will be in that, looking at what we were looking at there on Futurecast a minute ago. By Saturday, risk solidly back to the west of us where things are going to be more severe. Same thing Sunday, but Monday, that's when things move in. We showed this graphic off the top of the broadcast. Everybody here involved in severe weather risk by next Monday. The expectation is that this will be increased in confidence level here on the number of reports as we get closer. And we do know that Monday is a significant anniversary. It's the 15th anniversary of the big 2011 tornado outbreak. This is typically our active time of the year. So though I just mentioned it, I don't want to talk about too much of an overlap between the two of those, one of the highest end tornado outbreaks in recorded history, and what is going to be a chance for severe weather and tornadoes that does not look like it's on the same level. So in saying that, could we have severe weather Monday? Yes. Could there be tornadoes? Absolutely. But, it's an overlap on day. And so I think the hype machine's going to go into overdrive on that over the next week. And hopefully that's not the case. Just something to keep in mind here as we get closer is that, we want to be thinking about those multiple ways we can find out if we're in the danger zone. Probably one of the best ways to do that is weather call. It'll call you if you're under a tornado warning. It'll call you if a tornado is confirmed for your area, and it'll call you back if severe thunderstorm warnings are coming. If you've never heard of this, you want more information, you can scan that QR code below me there on the screen. But ultimately, we want to be thinking about multiple ways to build our armor. Weather call is one of those ways. The Mississippi Live Weather app, another one of those ways. And again, we've talked about this the last few days here, but we're now on Fire TV, as well as Apple TV and Roku. So a lot of different ways, again, to interact with us here on Mississippi Live. I appreciate all of you for doing that, but be building those different layers as we get closer. So I jumped all the way into the first of next week, but before we get there, I want to make sure that we kind of illustrate the fact that Friday, storms are going to be going on north and west. They're going to get, really blossom because of this front moving in from the north and west. And then these storms are going to peel away from the front, run ahead of the front, and start moving more toward us and bring that severe weather chance by your Friday afternoon. So looking at that here, we show 9 p.m. stretching from Pine Bluff, Arkansas to Stuttgart back toward Marietta and Memphis. This line, notice how there's a lot more oranges than dark reds. A few dark reds start showing up by noontime. Looking at this is more heavy rainfall than severe weather based on what we have right here at noontime. Watch how these get a little bit heavier, though, by, say, around 1:30. We show there east of Shelby, kind of west of Charleston there. Most likely spots maybe seeing, again, some of the heavy rainfall out of that. More of those dark reds showing up there from Greenwood back toward Grenada and Bruce by 3 p.m. But this still, I don't think it really has that look of a big bow echo at this time. Now, that could change. There is ample fuel there. There's just not a lot of organization, not a lot of shear. We'll show that with the crossover coming up here in a few minutes. Look at those far extended rain chances and storm chances. But as you can see here, 4:30, 5, 6 o'clock, continuing to show showers and thunderstorms there. So is it possible we could have some strong wind gusts on Friday? Yes. Will we have some rotation? Yes. Is that more likely to produce hail? Yes. I think hail and damaging winds more likely out of this than tornado threat. But again, it's a non-zero tornado threat. I am going to circle for you here where our area for flooding concern, is going to come in. Watch these spots right in here in particular. And I might be overly conservative on how far south. We're looking at this in the afternoon. We had storms, but watch as we go toward 10, 11 to midnight. Some damaging winds possible out of that one near Philadelphia and Forest, moving eastward there. I know for our Max South viewers, you can catch us down there on Mississippi Live, and we'll be watching for you. But this batch back here, El Dorado, back toward around Crossett and Greenville, notice how we continue to redevelop thunderstorms here. We drew this circle at 6 p.m. You can see at 2 o'clock in the morning, still ongoing rainfall there. Notice another flare-up and strong wind gusts for there at Greenville, Yazoo City by 6 a.m. Saturday, and that continues through Saturday morning there, 9 to 10 o'clock, finally starting to fall apart. So you're talking more than 12 hours of thunderstorms generating over the same spot. That's important because if that happens, wherever that happens, 5, 6, 7 inches of rainfall, not off the table is a possibility. And it's not impossible that shifts northward just a little bit. So that's one of our kind of big concerns here going into this upcoming weekend with that flooding rainfall potential. That front lingering storm chances will as well into your Saturday. So we're 60% on that chance for thunderstorms on Friday, 82 the high. And again, thunderstorms, damaging winds, maybe some isolated hail, non-zero tornado threat. Saturday, Sunday, both of those days expecting us to have rainfall around. Again, early Saturdays where we're most likely to again see that flooding rainfall. By Sunday, more limited chances. Then Monday. As look toward next week, Monday into Tuesday. And I'm going to move the mouse out of the way because I think I have that over top of 30 there on the percentages. So Monday and Tuesday of next week, severe weather chances in particular Monday, but timing. That's what we're going to watch here for Tuesday in case this slows down a little bit. Models have been pretty precise on trying to keep Monday the focal point for really the last week. It's bobbed around a little bit. For basically the last week, we've been looking at the first part of next week here. And the way we've done that is using something called our crossover. It's a product that layers fuel and the strong winds at different levels. It allows us to look deep into the future for severe weather threats. We're going to see how that has evolved and how that then impacts our severe weather threat for Monday and an additional threat late next week. So multiple tornado threats possible over the next 10 to 14 days. We're timing out some of those extended threats for you coming up in just 60 seconds as Mississippi Live continues right after this.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff.
all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
We can see the lowering. We're going to have a good shot at that as it approaches the Ryanzi area. Tornado warning now issued. We'll do a push alert behind the scenes for folks here up here in Alcorn County. Rotation on this thunderstorm increasing to the point back into Tippah County as well, where the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for your locations. So let's look at the risk and let's calibrate our crossover, a product you'll see only here on Mississippi Live. We try really hard to develop these things that we can hopefully explain the long-range forecast better with. The crossover, one of those we think does a good job. So we're going to show you the severe weather risk for your Thursday, located for spots on the plains from Wichita, Kansas up toward Omaha, Nebraska, and back toward the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. And then chance, obviously, for tomorrow for locations similar on the plains. So this is the next 2 days of severe weather threat. So this is the crossover and what it looks like with those kind of severe weather threats. So as we're looking back there toward the plains, see how we have a flare-up of fuel? That's what this orange is here, because there are three things we show up on the crossover. Jet stream winds way up in the atmosphere, lower level winds that help to propagate moisture in and help with the shear profile of the atmosphere, and then fuel. That crossover of elements, where it shows up is where we're most likely to see damaging and severe thunderstorms. So this is the crossover, something you'll see only on Mississippi Live. And when we look for tomorrow, notice we don't have a strong crossover of all three. Though we have fuel, though we have some, it's not quite strong. And that's why we have a more limited amount of everything. But notice as we go toward Thursday, where that threat we showed you expanded for locations on the plains, now we have more of those strong winds aloft spilling over top of the lower level winds where there's plenty of fuel. That crossover of favorable developmental elements allows us to say severe weather is a possibility. So that is what we are looking for as we look towards severe weather threats. So when we look for our area on Friday, what we will note here, first off, do we have fuel? Yes. So we check that one off. Do we have lower level winds? Not really. Do we have upper level winds? Not really. So we don't have a lot of organization, though we have fuel. What that means is if thunderstorms can develop, they will use that fuel, and as they rapidly gobble that up, they're just going to kind of follow the fuel the same way a flame. You know, they always show in the movies, there's that fuel on the ground, and there's the really, really bad guy or really, really good guy. It's never somebody in the middle that then throws the match and the flames follow the fuel. Well, that's what essentially happens with our thunderstorm chances on Friday. If you light the match, the flames are going to follow the fuel. Where that fuel is most available, the flames are going to be the strongest. So that's why I do like this color scheme. It reminds me a little bit of fire and the way fire behaves. But we do have some strong winds aloft, just not a lot. And we do have a little bit of lower level winds. If you look closely, some of those black arrows representing lower level winds, we show a few of those, but they're not strong. That's why our severe weather threat on Friday remains limited. By Saturday, we have more fuel. We have some upper level winds. We have virtually no lower level winds. So I think that combination and the direction everything's coming, that limits our severe weather chances on Saturday. By Sunday, you'll notice we continue to have some strong winds aloft, kind of northwest flow aloft. Still ample fuel around, so that's why we'll have thunderstorms, but they remain disorganized. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, our storms remain disorganized. I just think the initial wave on Friday might have the greatest chance to have a couple reports of strong wind gusts, some hail with it, and a non-zero tornado threat. Now let's compare when the crossover gets a little bit more dicey. That would be for Monday of next week. So you'll note by Monday of next week, we have more fuel than pretty much any other day. The way to show that, we got to come in here nice and close, and I'll look beneath our upper level winds for a second to be able to kind of show that if we can sneak in here. So you'll see plenty of the oranges showing up. Closer to the surface, we have strong winds as well. Now they're not ridiculously strong, but they're strong enough, and I think we have enough of a change in wind direction there that would then allow us to possibly see, again, strong to severe thunderstorms on Monday with this. See how there's a difference in wind direction at the surface? It's coming this way, and aloft it's coming that way. That helps get the storms rotating and try to produce tornadoes. The question in my mind is if any more of this strong wind aloft can spill over top of us. Because one of the main factors that we're looking at here is up here, and I'm going to choose, I need a color that's not on here. Let's choose green. There's a kind of trough right here in our upper level winds there. It's kind of lifting through. That is way to the north. And that has been the last couple days. If that were to slow down even a little bit more, position maybe a little bit stronger for us, our severe weather chances can increase a lot more. Either way, there's still enough here to say damaging winds, tornadoes, and isolated hail, all three possible on Monday with this setup. Notice as we head into Monday night and Tuesday, the jet stream, the strong winds aloft, that reloads back to the west. At the surface, we still have some fuel available, so still some questions in my mind, probably past the severe weather threat in all likelihood because of the overall shape of things on Tuesday, but that chance is not zero. So that's why we've left storm chances in there. But one of the things that clearly has happened by Tuesday is this big trough here, this big dip we see in the jet stream is reloaded, and as that swings eastward, by Wednesday, fuel is back. We have generally southwest winds aloft. It's possible we could have little waves moving through those southwest winds. And while I have the lower level winds primarily with this batch, as you can see into Texas and Arkansas, I don't have zero lower level winds. So some strong storms not impossible by Wednesday of next week. But as we look toward Thursday, things could get much more dicey. So this looks, I mean, you don't have to be a meteorologist to say this looks all mixed up, right? You have strong winds doing this right over top of us aloft when you go high up in the atmosphere. But if we dig down deep below that there, you'll notice that it becomes difficult to actually see the fuel at the surface because our strong winds at the surface are so significant. So we have maybe a more limited amount of fuel than necessary. This could be one of our limiting factors potentially, but plenty of strong winds at the surface, plenty of very strong winds aloft. That combination there, I think, is going to show us that there's a severe weather threat, I think, by Thursday of next week. Again, April 30th, wrapping up this month, a possibility there. And then as we head toward Friday, those strong winds aloft stay over top of us. But what they do is they should slide eastward just enough that if we were to dig down below this kind of big, tall batch there of blue, you'll notice what we're left here. I'm up there toward Nashville because it's hard to kind of dig below this there. But you can see how there's virtually no low-level winds or fuel of significance over top of us. Takeaway being all the moisture is out of here by next Friday. So we're probably looking at two chances of severe weather that could include tornadoes next week. The first on Monday, the next probably somewhere around Thursday. The timing, again, we're 10-ish days out. That will change. We're looking toward May 1st here, as you can see. And then we continue to have northwest winds. That keeps all the moisture out of here. You're not going to get storms without fuel. Even if everything else is right, if you don't have fuel, you're not going to get them. Looking toward not just, this be 2 weeks from yesterday, and then 2 weeks from today, May 5th there. Another storm system back to the west. Fuel back for the plains. We'll see whether or not that's going to hold together long enough to get to here. But obviously looking a long, long distance away for that. I need to bring Gabe in here for a second, double check to see if our SEC baseball forecasts are all up to date on that. And we do want to talk here in a moment about our game of the week. I clicked on through. We good on the forecasts?
Yeah, we're going to see LSU this weekend in Starkville for our Super Bulldog weekend. So going to be a great time out there in Starkville if you want to maybe have some of those plans in place. But you can see 83 across the board. And a large part of that is due to that rainfall, keeping our temperatures honestly mild for this time of year, around what we'd expect. But those rain chances may have some difficulty with those scheduling issues. So prepare accordingly, have that rain gear ready. And of course, we'll keep you updated here in the Room to Room Weather Center. As we look at Ole Miss and Georgia, a great time out there as well because it's double-decker weekend. So you talk about an action-packed weekend here in North Mississippi and not the best weather for it. And unfortunately, that's what we have this weekend here in North Mississippi. Friday, 82 degrees, Saturday, 81, and Sunday, 82. You can see based off of those temperatures that we're not exactly getting any calmer with this pattern. With those temperatures remaining in the low 80s pretty consistently, that just shows that we're getting system after system with that unstable air still sticking around, Matt. So, of course, that's not exactly the best case scenario for this jam-packed weekend with events, but maybe there will be a few breaks so we can enjoy some of those great times.
Hopefully that's the case. Okay, so speaking of great times, do you have everything ready to go on our on our game of the week there. Again, appreciate Carl Hogan Toyota for sponsoring our SEC baseball forecast.
Yeah, and so this is a look at our game of the week poll as of 6:36. So as we know, we've seen it week after week that this is finalized at 10 o'clock tonight. So if you're looking for the winner is not Pine Grove, at least not just yet. That's fully dependent on you guys and you voting. So right now, Pine Grove has a hefty lead there with 42%, and we can see Alcorn Central at Nettleton at 27%. Those are kind of the top two here on our poll of the week. East Webster at East Union, Biggersville at TCPS, Biggersville at Smithville, so a double feature there. And then Greenville at Saltillo, also some games that we're watching here in North Mississippi. We will be excited to attend any of those games. But that's all decided by you. And we'll get that final tally at 10 o'clock tonight, Matt. And of course, I'll have the latest updates, and then we'll go from there with our latest votes for our fan section, with our MVNP, and of course get those highlights in later on this week. But you want to talk about a busy week in the weather world? We also have a busy week in the sports department, and that's why we have moved it to Thursday to accommodate for some of those weather conditions.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure that we had everybody we could in studio when the time come. If there's a chance for severe weather, that's just, I mean, it's in the name. It's what we do. All right, Gabe. Okay, so we're excited to see how that goes. You know, and we got a late start on the voting, basically because scheduling for playoffs is all over the place. Trying to nail down exactly who is playing where. I think we learned we're just going to straight ask on Facebook what is the dates and times. I think that'll get us out there. But we're excited to be able to do our next game of the week again this evening, or not this evening, on Thursday evening. So again, appreciate Casey Lott for sponsoring our game of the week. I'll take down my name in a second, but you will see Thursday looking spectacular. If it's Pine Grove, if it's TCPS, if it's any of these other places that we showed you a moment ago, we'd be excited to go and take in some of those 79 first pitch, 70 by the fourth inning, and 69 by the conclusion of those games, assuming 6:30 first pitch, assuming Tupelo. But we are going to, of course, tweak this forecast as we get closer, and appreciate Casey Lott for sponsoring our game of the week. Our next live broadcast, as Gabe alluded to a second ago, is at 9 p.m. tonight. What he's going to be looking at here in the Room Durham Weather Center is an updated look at our triple threat for Friday and looking at Storm Finder and its progression with the thunderstorms Friday into Saturday, because that time frame, again, I think flooding rainfall could be one of the greater potentials, but as severe weather chances increase, something that we'll be watching. So he'll have those updates at 9 p.m. tonight here in the Room Durham Weather Center, and 10 p.m. as well. And Maggie is on tomorrow morning, as she is Monday through Friday every morning, starting at 6:30 a.m. here. We're just so excited again to have her a part of the team, and Gabe and Caleb. We've been very fortunate to kind of put together a really great team here, and excited for some beautiful weather the next day or so. Enjoy this, because obviously as things transition, stormier weather is ahead and severe weather. Thank you so much for supporting us, and thank you all for watching, and support those sponsors, support us here on Mississippi Live. It's the way we get to keep doing this. We'll see you guys tonight at 9.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted